Here I am again in my humble bloomin' shed. Well, one time in my future self, I'm going to have it tidied up. My wife we were out at a friend's place the other day and his shed's beautiful. All things are hung up neat and orderly and all bloomin' organised. And the wife says to me, do you think your shed will ever look like this? And I said, well, not if I'm responsible, but you never know. You could paint some things on the wall and hang your hammer up if you want. Anyway, here we are. Today, if you've ever been beekeeping for a little while, eventually you get down the road and you decide that you want to start rearing your own queens. And if you want to start rearing queens, then you've got to have little nuke boxes to put the queens in. And oh my goodness me, like everything else with beekeeping, there's always another job. And I found some old bloomin' 10 frame boxes. And it's a bit of an emergency because we've got some queen cells that are nearly ready and I haven't got my nuke boxes actually delivered or painted or organised at all. So I thought, oh, here we go. I'm going to come up with an idea to make a double nuke box out of a 10 frame box. So of course, the first thing we're going to need is our 10 frame box. Well, I'm guessing you could do this with an 8 frame box as well if you wanted to get real excited. So here we go, our 10 frame super. Hello! Back in the day, I won't even be able to make that joke anymore because that used to be on the box. There was a TV show, but now it's not even a box, it's a big flat screen. Well, as a matter of fact, we're probably on your phone actually, aren't we? So maybe I could be in your pocket. That'd be something different. Sorry, I'm getting off track. What we need to do is I need to make 2 openings. I'm going to have an opening here and an opening there, because I'm going to obviously have 2 lots of bees in here. So first up, we're going to have to cut ourselves a little bit of wood to make this bit. I wonder if a bloke could get organised and do 4 cuts all at once, so it'd be a bit more straightforward. I think we can manage that, surely. Here's a tape measure. Here we go, over here. Right. So we want a little bit to go, basically a little bit to come through here, which is going to be, what's that going to be? Then we'll have another 50 gap. And then we're going to want one to be 300. So if we do 2 at 50 and 2 at 300, ha ha, we'll be bloody brilliant. Oh, what's that doing down there? Golly gosh. So here's a little bit of wood I prepared earlier. No, not really. I just nipped down the hardware store and I've bought this little strip. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure up our 50 and our 300 and we're going to make 2 little doors. So we want one little short bit. Oh, actually we want... Come on. So we want 2 little short bits at 50 and we want, frig off. And 2 at 300. And then we'll find out how it looks when we bring it back over here. So over to the Whizzo Machino. But if you haven't got a Whizzo Machino, you can cut it by hand. There's no real big stress. Now don't get too excited, it's not that particular actually to have perfectly the right lengths, it's all good. All you're trying to create is a hole so the girls can get in and out of this box. So just relax everybody out there who's going to say, oh my goodness me, they're not exactly the same length. Because it really doesn't bloody matter if they're not exactly perfect. We're not building a cabinet here, honestly, we're building a bee box.
But isn't a bee box a cabinet?
No, only if you're the bee. If you happen to be following along at home, one crucial element is that you have to have the doors at different ends of the box, otherwise it's just not going to work, okay? Just as that's a little footnote that you do have to do right. That there. So you want the 2 long bits opposite, and we're going to have 2 little short bits like that. And look at that, hey presto, you've got an opening. Ha ha! Now I'm going to put a little bit of pink primer on this so it doesn't go rotten straight away. Is it an advertisement for pink primer? No, not really, but maybe. Trust British paints, sure can. No, what is this? Solver. Trust Solver paints. This must be a new tin. Oh crap, there's the old tin that I should have opened. Anyway, I'm stirring this one now, so it's just going to have to do.
Why is it pink?
I don't really know, but I guess it's because it's named pink primer. It'd be very awkward if you opened the can and it was blue, wouldn't it? It's got pink on the front. I honestly don't know, but it's obviously something to do with the chemicals in here that seal the wood or whatever that was pink. Or maybe they threw a pink pigment in there. I don't know. Does it say on your good eyes could read on the back here, and it's a bit like, you know, like when you read the bloody things that are in your lollies and you think, hell, I probably shouldn't eat these because this is weirder than fiction. But if you happen to know the answer to pink primer and why it's pink and what the hell, you could always just comment below somewhere down here and you can just start a big conflab and then I'll know and you'll know and we'll all know. It's just a little bit of primer on this wood so that we can, hopefully it'll last more than a weekend. Just sit it there like that. Find our nail gun. Of course, if you don't happen to have a nail gun, that's not imperative to this project either. You can just do it with a normal nail. So that'll just give us a little bit of a seal. I'm just going to put that on the other side. Try to line things up a little bit. Don't be too MJ, all right? Oh, shit. Don't put your nail gun in the freaking pink primer either. That's a bad result. Yeah, I reckon she'd seize up, wouldn't she? So we just need to fill in this gap. Get all excited and we can measure it. Or we can bring the bit of wood over here and do it that way. No, born free, as free as the bees fly. Hopefully they'll fly free. Right. Oh, come on. Sit still. We're going to go there like that. And then one the other way. I'll just go and check that while you're not looking. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Bloody hell, Harry. Right. Get a little bit. Just a tad little bit more. Ah, golly gosh. Honestly. Why do they have to put the stickers on this? It's like when you get a jar and they've got the sticker right in the wrong spot for you. It's like, or a worse, a bit of spanner or something. Most annoying. Cool. So we'll slap a little bit of paint on these ones. Try not to get too much crap over ourselves. Right, here, so we'll put our little sides on. Yuck. Pink crap going everywhere. Just saves your wood going rotten anyway. Because of course, this is going to be out in the field and the dampness is going to run down here. So just slap a little bit of primer on here. Keep everybody happy. Just try not to get too much crap. Well, it depends on how long before you actually use your box anyway. If you're going to use it reasonably straight away, try not to get too much of this stuff in here everywhere because it's a bit smelly and the girls are not, they're not over impressed. I'd rather the wood not go rotten if we could possibly help it. Obviously the box has been treated already, so the sides of the box have already been painted. If you're doing this right from scratch, paint your box as well as your bit of wood that you're sticking on there, just to seal stuff up, just to help yourself out. Everything you can do to preserve your workmanship a little bit longer is to your advantage. Because all these projects, when it comes to beekeeping, well, they cost you a fair bit of time and a fair bit of money. So the longer you can keep them in service, the better off you are, I reckon. So it's better to spend that little bit longer when you're here fool-arsing around. But, of course, if you don't want to do that, feel free not to, because it's not going to be imperative, all right? Now we need a base plate. Just happened to have one of them that I prepared earlier. It's a bit like that magic cake. It's like, boop, like here it is, cooked. It's a bit like free to cook. Pop the roast in the oven or the Weber, and all of a sudden it pops out cooked already. It's like pretty magical, isn't it? Like no one even had to wait. And if you want to know what free to cook is, nip over on, I'm sure there's a link somewhere or other. That's another one on the 6'4" Productions. You can find out how to boil an egg perfectly. I had a perfectly boiled egg from my granddaughter this morning, which was pretty miraculous. So there's all sorts of tips and tricks on there on how to do it. What was that? What was my favourite one? The jolly tomahawk steak. That's my favourite one. So check that out. That's pretty amazing. All right, now this is a bit of marine ply. I guess you can use anything you like. Marine ply is actually designed to get wet, so it's not a bad option. That's going to be our baseboard. Now, if you happen to be at the hardware store, it'll probably be advantageous to get them to cut the thing actually square for you, and you wouldn't have to deal with this situation that a bloke's got going on here at the minute. But still, you can't have everything when you're a bloomin' bit of a ruffian. Right, so that's going to be our bottom. So that's our bottom. Cool. I guess all we got to do now is hook that to the other board. I wonder if this funny little nail gun will go through the marine ply. We'll find out in a minute. Oh, look at that. Bloody hell, eh? Bloke could have cut a straight line, couldn't he? Straight. Oh, I don't know. Don't tell the father-in-law, okay? Of course, if you were really motivated, you could always screw it on there, I guess. But, hell. Right, so the next exciting thing we need to do is find some legs so we can actually have a landing board and have this thing off the ground. How long do the legs need to be, young fella? They need to be 410. I wonder who sat down and actually decided how wide these boxes had to be for a 10-frame box. I guess it had to be the size of the box. Size of the frame had to fit in the box. It's kind of interesting when you look up where all this beekeeping stuff started out. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure it started out as a champagne box somewhere, so it's just running pretty hectic, but still. Maybe that says something about the history of beekeeping. So I reckon this will serve the purpose. What do we want? 410. Look at that. That could be a new game, that could be. All right, we got 410 there. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's going to be just perfect if we cut it in the middle. Well, maybe anyway. It'll be perfect enough for this project. This is a nice hardwood that I picked up along my travels. So this is the hardwood that I collected for our pallet stands that probably hasn't been highly successful, the whole pallet stand idea, but you know, so waste not, want not. I've found a different purpose for the leftover bits, so here we go. So they're going to be our little legs. Also, we're going to make a little landing board either end. So they're going to be a landing board at both ends of this box. Whereas if you were making this just as a one entrance box, you'd probably have this back leg flush, but you don't want it flush because you want the girls to have somewhere to land. So I'm going to just put that forward a little bit. Going to be around 35. That'll give us a nice bit to screw in. Now when you're screwing it in, of course, you don't want to screw through your bloody entry point. So you're going to have one at the end and say 2 or 3 along here. Of course, you can use a kick-ass big nail if you got one of them too, but, you know, that's if I've got some bloody screws here somewhere. Hopefully these will be long enough. Oh, look at that. So now we're going to want to do ourselves some pilot holes. Wow, it's amazing how different the pine is to the redwood. I don't know whether we actually need to worry about putting any pink primer on that. I'd be tipping this bit of hardwood still going to be around when I'm in the ground. The whole box will probably go on rotten, but this bit of redwood will still be here. Well, I don't know. But anyway, I probably won't need to worry about it, will I? This is the fun part. Look, go back, go back. Where the fuck? Oh, John. That's enough to scare everybody. It might be time for a new drill, I think. This poor little thing's a bit sad. Got to work out how we're going to keep these bees and these bees separate, because of course you'll all know that the queens do not like each other. When you get together, you're only allowed to have 1 queen per box. We've got to figure out how we're going to make this 2-frame box into 1. Now there's plenty of options going around the internet and out there in beekeeping world. There's bits of wood and cutting and going to the metal manufacturers and anyway, the ideas are endless, but I've come up with my own unique idea that it's not going to cost me a hell of a lot and it's going to be reasonably efficient and rather quick, and it involves a bit of plastic foundation and a frame. Because the other day I was playing around and we ordered these plastic foundation frames And they didn't have the little corner cut out. Like, you get a new plus frame and you got the nice little corner so the girls can get around and actually move about the place. These cheap-ass ones didn't have the corner cut off. And I thought, well, rather than cutting the corner off, hell, I reckon if a queen can gnaw her way through that plastic frame, she'd be bloody clever. So we need to just secure something to the edge and keep her separate. So this just needs a little bit of stabilisation. So we're going to put a couple of strips along here. I happen to have inherited some of these blooming bottom bar boards. They're going to be just ideal for this project. So my plan is we're going to have a little bit of a supporting rail. I'm going to use 2. You could probably get away with 1. But being that I've got plenty to go around, we're going to use 2 just because we can. Who knows? There's safety in numbers, isn't there? You want to just cut there, cut that little bit off so it can fit inside here. That's right, I've got to move the cord, don't I? Lord! I think I better bring my power board back out here. This is ridiculous. It's a little bit short, but we'll get away with that because it doesn't have to be completely perfect. It just has to be a bit of reinforcement on the plastic. I'll cut this one. I'm just going to put a little nail at the back here. Hopefully we line it up. Try to make it in a straight line if you possibly can. Cool. Now we're going to put 2 the other side. So we just reverse the project. I'm getting good at this stuff. Yeah, obviously you want to line it up so it's the same on the back as it is on the front. That's probably not exactly where I should have put it, but anyway, it won't matter. For the purpose of the video, but you need to make sure that they line up. Put a couple through here too, just for the hell of it. We'll bring me box back here. We'll see what size bits of wood we need to fill in the side bits. Because I reckon she could probably squeeze through there somehow. Oh, I reckon that's going to be just dandy. Just bloody perfect. Where's me texture? You like that? I bet you it's going to be a fraction too snug. What's that? Oh, not bad though. Oh, maybe we'll get away with it after all. Right, now we've got to put something on the bottom so the lady can't run underneath the frame. So we've basically got a seal on the sides and on the bottom. So when we pop our frame in, if we can get it in, because some idiots made it too long. Right, you want a snug fit just like that. Gosh, lad. Anyway, so I figure the queen can't run underneath, she can't run through the sides, but of course everybody's saying, well, she's going to run over the top. I have a solution for that too. So now we need to make a perfect seal across the top. So as our boss lady can't climb up and across the frames, I figure if we make a perfect seal, like you can make it with this is a little bit of burning, like thin board, you can make it with burning board. I've made it with, what's that, fluted plastic stuff, whatever that's called, a bit like the real estate agents use for their signs. I've seen it done with jolly silver paper, well, like insulation paper. I didn't like that idea because I figured that's not quite as good as this idea. So the plan is we're going to cut this so as it perfectly fits inside our box. Well, hopefully we can get away with that, but no guarantees, just going on my past just track record a minute ago. Not get any award yet. Way to keep things a little bit square, MJ, if you possibly can. It's going to suck if it's wrong, isn't it? Oh, man. Look at that, I reckon if she's clever enough to crawl over that, she'll be doing very well. So all we need now is some wax frames. Pop in here, and then all we need is some bees, and next thing you know, we'll have a double brood box breeder. Anyway, there you go. So that's how you make a box, and we thought we'd show you the finished product out here in the breeding yard. We put some cells in here the other day, and I just want to come out and have a look what the cells are doing. So here it is, sitting here in real life. Give them a little bit of smoke in the doorway. Hell, we didn't even have to play the music with that clever, it just happened. Let's just pop the lid off. Yeah, I don't remember what I used as a divider. Oh yeah, I did use a board in here. That's all right. At least I did use a bit of board. Hello, chicks. Lots of singing going on. I'll just pop the board up so we can see where our divider is. And we've got girls on this side and girls on this side. So we'll just have a look what our cells are doing in here. Young queen won't have had time to go out and mate just yet, but we can have a look. Just make sure she's come out of her little, I don't know, what is it, a cocoon, is it? What do you do? I mean, technically it's a queen cell, but... I don't think the girls have got through the little thing here, so that's good. I don't know where we put the queen cell, but she'll be here somewhere. Is that the little boss? No, I don't think so. She's a bit short one end. Where did we put the cell, young John? Do you remember? There we go. She's hatched herself out of there. I don't know where exactly she is in this box because and we don't really need to find her yet. We're just going to come back and make sure she gets mated and starts laying. The most important bee in the box, I reckon. But mind you, it's actually a democracy in a bee box. The queen is technically in charge, but the bees themselves get to decide how much the queen actually does. Cool. And we'll have a look at the other side as we go forward. I mean, it's not going to matter so much this time of year because it's nice and warm, but if this was like spring, they'd be able to radiate a bit of heat between each other and keep each other a bit warmer. So that's always a good thing. And the other queen cell, and she's chewed her way out, which is good. So she must be running around in here somewhere. Pity we can't find her to show you, but anyway. Hello, everybody. What's going on? You've got to go out and do lots and lots of work for Mr. Bush Bee Man. Of course, the reason why we've got an entrance at this side and this side is so as when the bees go in and out, they don't get so confused and they don't drift between each other, because if you had an opening just next door to each other, not only would the queen get confused when she tries to come back from a mating flight, but the ladies themselves would get confused and you wouldn't know sort of whoever was the coolest place to go, they'd all end up in that house. So you don't want that, you want them to stay separate because hopefully you're making two lots, not one. Anyway, we'll pop the frame back in. That's our little spare frame. Someone's in there singing a song, so that's good. Put our protector board on the top so we can keep everybody locked in. Put our roof on. And there you are. Hey presto. Oh, I think it's a bit hey presto, but you know, you never can tell until you've actually played this game for a little while.